Okay, let's see. Look at Jilmar. Do you have anything you want to say about this before we watch it?
So this is the shot I showed you last time, the reference. I started blocking a little.
Great.
Just want to know what poses I can make stronger and like what I can change.
All right, let's take a look. Nice. That's a really good start, Jilmar. Really good start. This felt a little fast here. It wasn't that the move is fast. There was not enough time for him to register, like this pose here. I'm not really reading this pose that clearly. It's mostly because it's not being held for long enough. The idea of him looking at it and being like, oh my gosh, I'm just not seeing that long enough. So give yourself more time for this and the transition into this and this pose. They're pushing the leg back here too far. It makes it feel like he's getting to run or something like that. It's taking away from the emotional content of that pose. You want this pose to read more like, oh my gosh, but because the leg animation is so broad and strong, you lift the leg really far here and it comes way back there. It distracts from it a little bit. So all I would do is just take this leg and bring it forward a little bit more. I mean, I understand it's a very dynamic pose, but it doesn't support the acting choice. And then he should hold that pose, maybe like 5-10 frames longer. He's whoa! Maybe you see like a little quick head dart, eye dart. I think that'd be great. Right before he moves, you see him come down and his head turns just a little bit. So he's like looking at it from side to side, just like, and then goes. For me, my own personal taste, this isn't necessarily a matter of right and wrong, but my own personal taste is when he swoops down in here, I would keep him engaged in what he's looking at. Right now you're focusing a lot on the transition, the shape of the pose, but it feels a little bit more like his body is passive, like it's being dragged. I want to see his eyes and I want to see him really still looking at the skeleton. And right now, I don't see where his pupils are at and where his mouth is. So I would tilt his head down a little bit more, and I think it'd be great to see his expression. Have his face and eyes still looking at the skeleton. And have this leg not outstretched quite as far. Bring it a little closer underneath him. And then when he steps, this foot would be just a little bit further back, would be here. And then he picks up his foot, and then at that point, your animation wouldn't change. Because once he gets to here, his leg goes up. Now, this stuff is good. I like this very casual kind of walking. It almost feels like the way you're animating him, like he has a bit of a bounce in his step. He kind of feels like he's walking on his toes a little bit. I think because how his heels come off the ground early, which I kind of like. There's something about that. So as you move forward with it, keep that little bounce in his step. I think it's nice. Yeah. When he comes into this pose here, don't have his hand up right away. I want to see his body in this position, and then when we register that, his body's up there, let's say 4 frames, 5 frames, then have the arm start to come up. Because it's happening all at once, I don't actually understand this idea that he's putting his hand through him. Like, whoa, what's going on? So that would be a little more clear if you could delay that hand coming up. Right now it's also happening right on top of this pole and his hand. I would see if you could clear the silhouette of it. It'll help. You can see what's going on better. I'm just wondering where you could put this to give yourself a little room for performing. Yeah, you could put it back. Yeah, he moves it. He kind of picks it up. If he has it, and like, hey, what's going on? Yeah. I think that's good. And maybe don't keep it on the ground. Maybe he picks it up. The problem with just putting it back is then you're going to have the stick here. I guess you could go all the way back so the stick is back here. You can see how that looks. That would be one option if the stick is all the way back. You wouldn't want to keep it in the silhouette of his body. It could feel unnatural. Just see if that feels natural to have him pick up a stick and go all the way back. Like he's kind of like trying to get away from this guy. Like, what the heck? You know, what are you doing? And so then you see the stick back here. If that doesn't look good, another option would be to pick the stick up off the ground and have the stick at an angle. So he's lifted it up, and you see the arc of the stick here, and then the stick is this way. So then it still keeps this area clear. You know, and maybe as you move further, it could be nice as he pushes on him, you feel a little bit of a push on his chest. You know, as he's poking his chest, you feel kind of his chest kind of push back a little bit. And that would help make it feel more annoying. You know, this guy's being annoying, and it would make the skeleton get angry. And here, it feels like you're possibly stabbing the guy with the stick. I understand, of course, it's not, and it doesn't touch him, but because it gets so close to him, you don't want it to read like that. So maybe he does it a little slower. You know, if you have a little effect, it'd be great if you could have something in the animation to show like an effect, electricity. Do you have plans to do anything like that, to show the effect?
Yeah, but I haven't figured it out yet.
Obviously, that'll make a big difference. Maybe it doesn't have to be quite so fast, too. If there's an electricity up there, as he lifts it up, you see the electricity, you know, start to form, and then there's like a slow anticipation of it, like as all the power is growing, and then the audience will get clear that what's going on. Why not keep it in screen a little bit more? You know, you can have it hover over his head. You know, when he raises it above his head, but not back like you're doing, but keep it this way so you could see it. See, Chad says, would it be funnier if the skeleton did it more casually to juxtapose the big physical move of the boy? That's a good idea. Yeah, he just, you know, instead of making it a big, like, intense, like, you know, you could have him, he's just looking at the boy annoyed, and imagine if this guy has this amazing power, and he just does it more kind of nonchalant, just like, picks it up a little bit, raises it above his head. So, you know, if it starts off here, when he raises it up, you know, you just see it kind of here above his head, raised up, and you see the electricity start, and then slowly you go down on him, and it doesn't have to be a big, intense. You know, honestly, I think either way can work. Sometimes having it be subtle can be funny, especially if it is unexpected. Yeah, it does seem kind of nice. Yeah, it seems kind of nice to have it subtle.
Okay.
I don't know, I'll leave that up to you. I mean, I think this can work as well. Yeah, that's your choice in whether you want to make it subtle or not. But for sure, you want to keep the end of it in frame. Definitely. Don't go as high. Any questions about those notes?
Nope, that's it.
Great. Good poses in there, too. Okay, who'd like to go next?